every 12 million Indians who join the workforce each year, less than 1 million are able to find dignified work. The rest struggle. Market narratives have shifted over the years, and people's aspirations are evolving at increasingly rapid rates.
On one hand, we have heard of the demographic dividend, in which we have a young population that, if carefully steered and enabled, can help us build a robust nation. On the other hand, the same young people in this country, about 30,000 of them, need jobs every day, and we are only able to provide less than half of it. So, is this an opportunity or is this a problem? This complex issue has to be faced.
Development Alternatives, a premier social enterprise, and Lakshya Banking Foundation, a leading global foundation, have joined hands to launch Work for Progress program in India. This was done through a flagship event aptly titled Jobs We Want. The main pillar of thought behind the event was to showcase an innovative approach to creating systemic solutions that unleash entrepreneurship at scale.
We're in the business of creating local jobs and local consumption. But we're also in the business of paying well. The local people who make things need also to be able to sell outside the village so that they can meet the requirements of high margin clients. And how do we do that? We do it in a way that generates huge synergies and efficiencies and savings, and therefore make the whole process commercially viable.
The focus of virtually everything that we're doing is on micro, small and medium enterprises, all the more so at the micro enterprise end, because as we've worked across the states of Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, parts of Rajasthan, around the national capital region, we found that that is where the challenges lie, and that's also where the biggest numbers are. In terms of people who could potentially become entrepreneurs, and individually in small ways, but collectively in a massive way create jobs in the millions.
The International Labour Organization states that 2 out of every 5 young people in the world are currently unemployed, and this problem is even more serious for women, who are 27% less likely to find a job than men are.
The plenary session focused on new narratives of job creation.
Can development alternatives, or can all of us sit together and find out, talk to these state governments, identify every block, if not block, every district. Can we actually start this in a fortnight where all these people come together and try to figure out, try to learn from each other, as they said, have this dialogue, co-create, and do a prototype and learn, so that that can actually come from the block level to the district level, from the district level to the state level.
Livelihoods and their evolving form in light of digitization, technological advances, and globalization were prominent themes.
There are plenty of professionals we have who've kind of broken that barrier. Right? Now this is the disruption it causes. Now if Geeta starts earning 1 lakh rupees plus, she's able to provide and fund for their children's education. She can buy a house for herself. She can pay off all her loans. Right? And this starts triggering off that social chain, which is what I like to see as empowerment.
I think the next shift is going to come from the heart. It's really not about artificial intelligence. It's what the heart can do. This hand-eye-spirit connection that we have to see the future of India in.
The post-lunch plenary session placed emphasis on acceleration of enterprise solutions for large-scale impact.
No one service provider can afford to buy equipment endlessly. There is enough equipment available in the universe, the local universes in India, whether you take them as states or zones or whatever, agroclimatic zones, to be able to be harnessed on Uber platforms. We ourselves are called the Uber of agricultural equipment. And so you'll find many, many enterprises with a $400 billion output leading on to a $1 trillion output for agriculture. You're going to see all this changing. Hundreds of enterprises of this kind are bound to come up.
How do we drive innovation? Specifically, mostly social innovation. How do we solve those wicked problems that we're all facing in society? Unemployment, drug abuse, various things like that. There's a win-win situation here because those people who get involved in social innovation and driving change, you give them permission to act, so actually they're empowering innovation back the other way as well. So we close the loop that way.
The breakout sessions were based on Work for Progress's systemic approach to entrepreneurship. Work for Progress addresses entrepreneurship concerns through dialogue, finds answers through co-creation, prototype solutions, and shares learning among a network of change makers to create impact at scale. Taking the spirit of co-creation forward was the marketplace, specifically designed for 18 entrepreneurs to engage with various participants. The evening came to an end with a panel discussion between Her Royal Highness Princess Christina, Minister of State Jayant Sinha, and Dr. Ashok Khosla, Founder, Development Alternatives. The discussion was moderated by Dr. Nalin Mehta, Executive Editor, Times of India.
What is your sense about the role the private sector can play as far as the MSME sector is concerned and with its philanthropic outreach?
Thank you. At Lacaisha Foundation, we really strongly believe that the private sector has an increasingly important role to play. But not only because of the funds it can provide, but also because of other resources like expertise, knowledge sharing, capacity of advocacy, and the sharing of best practices.
We have one of the best startup ecosystems on the planet. We have very entrepreneurial people. And with respect to our policies are very supportive of entrepreneurship, of developing the skills of our people, of providing them financing and so on. I think anybody would say, whether it's ease of doing business, whether it's Startup India, whether it is the India Aspiration Fund, whether it is the ability to forge new policies in drones, for example, in each of those different areas, we are providing the necessary tools and the resources for our people to go out and be great entrepreneurs, which we know that they can be. And as our people go out and do that, we will in fact create the jobs and we will take advantage of all of the new technologies that you mentioned.
The panel discussion concluded with the launch of a monograph, Jobs We Create, which put together narratives of micro-entrepreneurs of rural India.
We've been on a journey for the last few months, interacting with entrepreneurs, hearing their stories through their voices. We wanted to bring you a little bit of that spice into this particular room.
It's our belief in the power of enterprise that has kept us going in one sense, many of us for 3 decades, and will spur us further on in this journey.
Join Work for Progress to rediscover the power of entrepreneurship to create a sustainable future for millions of Indians.